How we doing, everybody? Episode 101. I've got to get used to that 100 thing. We got three new comics to see if they make any good film or television shows out of them. We got Action Comics number 1064, and we got Ultimate Black Panther, and we got Cobra Commander. Let's check them out right now. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. And if you were wanting to get some information about doing films of your own and stuff like that, I am giving a class. By the time this comes out, it'll be over. But I'll let you know how it goes on the next one because I'm recording this on Friday night, and I won't have it edited until Saturday, tomorrow night sometime. So it'll already be over. But now I have to plug something else. I have to plug everything with something else in the middle of every video. So the only thing I have left going on is that we have our card game with Mark Spears art doing classic monsters. And we have the description below has the link to sign up for when that launches. It's going to be a pretty great card game. And it's got some great art in it. But we'll discuss at the end. So in the meantime, give me that like and that subscribe, and let's jump right into it. All right, so we got Action Comics. I do not normally collect Action Comics because normally it is an anthology series, and I do not like anthology series. However, this is House of Brainiac number 1, and it's a one story throughout that is going to be an event through all of the Superman books. And so I am collecting Superman, so I had to collect this so that I had reference to what was going on in the issue of the title I am collecting. I'm not going to get all the tie-ins and all that stuff. So I like Brainiac as a villain, and this looks like it has some pretty good art. It's by Joshua Williamson. So it starts off with Brainiac, imagine that, coming to Earth and about to cause some trouble. So now we have, see, the artwork is pretty decent. And we have Lois, who's going to be doing some jogging through Metropolis, which I probably would not recommend. Probably the crime rate's pretty high. And she bumps into everybody. Like there's the twins that they brought in from the other planet when he was on the War World situation. We got the Asian Superman, which I know nothing about. We got Connor Kent. She just happens to run past Kara Zor-El, which is Supergirl. We have Lana Lang, who's Superwoman. I thought she was Superwoman in a different universe. I didn't realize it was this universe. And then John Henry Irons and Natasha Irons, which is Steel. Perry White. I mean, she runs into everybody, and she's, doing the whole dance as she's going through it. I like how she just kind of stands out in the yellow. And then we have some other guys that she just keeps passing around, people that are in jail. Exactly. Whatever, but anyway. I did like this part, too, that she gets into the park, and the art and the coloring on that is really good, I thought. She runs into Jimmy Olsen, and Jimmy Olsen's girlfriend, which is a Siobhan, which is Silver Banshee. So he's dating a supervillain who's kind of turning off the new leaf. So it's kind of like a Poison Ivy type character. And then we get this amazing 2-page spread of him flying with all of the seagulls, etc., going through a wave, hanging out at the park and giving a kid a high five, and he's like, "Oh my God, your heart is so strong, you broke my wrist, little boy." And then he gets onto the park where I can't imagine Jimmy Olsen doing yoga or meditation or whatever the hell they're doing, but there they are, and he shows up being all goofy, and they start to talk about what today is. It's something special about the day. And all of a sudden he just freezes and says, "Run," which I thought was really cool. So you start up with this whole, it's all a normal day situation. And then all of a sudden he just says, "Run." And again, we get this 2-page spread of the Earth, or not even the Earth, but just Metropolis being overrun by Zarnians and Brainiac bots. And you can see, of course, that all the things are just cut and pasted, so he didn't draw all that. And for all I know, the artist just kind of threw in the city as a backdrop, so he probably didn't even draw much of this. But it does look pretty impressive, even with all the cut and pasting that was done. So Superman's immediately going into battle, telling everybody to get to safety and doing, commanding everybody to get into action. So all the and I really hate Supergirl's costume. I just absolutely despise it. Whoever decided to change it, there's nothing wrong with the damn skirt. It's been around from the start of fucking time here. There's no reason to change it just because you feel like changing it. It'll come back eventually, I guess, just like the underwear came back. So Brainiac's kind of just, going through and saying, everything's going according to plan. He doesn't talk like that, but that's what happens. So now we get into Supercore, which is what Superman has is controlling LexCorp. And I guess Lex Luthor is on, he's on arrested leave here. And, Mercy is he's commanding everybody to help Superman. Lena's out there going, oh my God, look out the window. And then we have, this AI program who's, I guess, like a hologram pop-up. And he's like, I didn't make that. And even though it's looks like Lex. And no, it's actually being controlled by Brainiac. So Brainiac has infiltrated LexCorp a lot earlier. So we get some more battle going on. And I guess the heroes are starting to get captured and teleported up to Brainiac's ship. And basically all hell is breaking loose. So I guess Lex has a power suit, almost like a Green Lantern thing. He takes the Zarnians out the window. Superman's still fighting, etc. Of course, Lobo comes up in discussion going, yeah, he's a loser, and I can't believe you beat him all those times. That kind of thing. So that's his race. But I thought he was the only one left in his race. But I guess that's not the case. But yeah, I think you can see. I mean, look at that costume. It's just horrible. You know what it reminds me of? Captain Marvel from Marvel. That's what it reminds me of. It's just horrible. Look at that. Whoever designed that thing needs to be shot like 5 times in the head. So Superman is now getting captured, and Super Banshee's just going. He's like, what do you want me to do? And which I thought was kind of cool that she was looking to him for orders. And he says, just keep screaming. Yeah, doesn't sound right, does it? It sounds like a kidnapper. Oh, nobody can hear you scream. Just keep screaming. So she gets captured. Basically, anybody who's got powers is being captured. They capture the twins. Everybody's gone. Superman's pretty much the only one left on Earth. There's Superwoman going. But again, I didn't realize that Lana Lang on this planet had power. But here's the leader of the whole thing, and he was the one that's saying, oh, Lobo, we've heard of him. We'd heard of him being a complete dork. And there's Brainiac looking all sigil like, this is all going so well. Then we have a continued fight, etc. Lex kind of stands in the way and gets teleported up even though he doesn't have any powers. And everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And Superman's pissed off now, and Brainiac's like, yes, he will come up now and face us. And that's the end so far. Yeah. So far, so good. I'm looking forward to what happens in the next issue. And, yeah, I guess I knocked off some of the ink on that with my thumb as I was using it. I'm going to have to wear gloves doing this with the ink coming off. I'm going to reserve my judgment on whether it's become a good film or television show because it looks good so far, but Joshua Williamson sometimes does very well. And in fact, we're going to talk about another Josh Williams thing right here. And sometimes he stays on track. So I'm kind of hoping this is good, because most of it like an event. Normally it's like, ugh. I don't look forward to events at all, and that's why I really wasn't going to collect this. But everybody said it was good, so I picked it up, and I've already collected Superman anyway. So anyway, I'm reserving right, but I think it might be good. All right, let's get into Ultimate Black Panther and why I think this is going downhill fast. They've kind of stalled the story, and this is falling into the shadow of Ultimate Spider-Man, because Ultimate Spider-Man is doing very well. And the storyline is good, and then we have this. And what's happening is that the Maker or whatever, which is the evil Mr. Fantastic, changed the timeline so nobody has any powers, right? Or nobody became a superhero. Not that anybody, nobody became a superhero. So Peter Parker had to be given his stuff by a Iron Man from the future or from another dimension or whatever, and so he got his powers, but much later in life. Where here, it doesn't feel like T'Challa changed at all, and his dad had the Black Panther thing, which was then transferred to him. So really, nothing changed with him, except the costume. And I don't even like the open mouth thing. I prefer the full face. It made him look different, but. Yeah, and you can see on the cover, so nothing should be changed except for the timeline, right? Looks of the characters shouldn't change, right? A costume, yes, but not their face and their hair. Why would that change? So everybody knows that Storm has long white hair, and of course she's had a mohawk, but it's never been Rastafari. And I don't understand why they're going with this. It doesn't make any sense for the storyline. It doesn't make any sense for Storm. And yet they're doing it. So this is going real downhill real fast. And I think I might be cutting it soon. Because it's kind of pissing me off. So we start out with Shuri and Okoye. And Okoye is T'Challa's wife in here. And even though he was told by the seers that he's probably going to have a kid with Storm. Okay? So we have this, she's training, and then Okoye comes up and says, "Where's my husband? I haven't seen him in days. What's going on?" She's like, "I can't tell you." And she's like, "Well, don't turn your back on me. I am your queen, and you're going to address me like that." And she's like, "Bitch, I will take your ass down." She didn't say that, but anyway, she says, okay, the first person that goes down has to tell the truth or whatever. So she's saying, if I take you out, you need to tell me what's going on. And she's like, okay, you could try. But I can't imagine Shuri in any universe taking down Okoye. But she does. And she doesn't tell her shit. And that's the end of that. And that's really the only action scene in the whole book. This is going to go quick because really nothing happens in here. You saw all the action that happened. So, meanwhile, T'Challa's hanging out with Killmonger, who is partnered up with Storm. So he's like, and we, he's like almost like the American Indian thing, we only take what we need and the spirit that gave them to us and blah, 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 but you wouldn't understand that because you're a pampered king and so they're hanging out at the campfire going, "Oh, you got some s'mores here, buddy? Where's my s'mores?" "Hey, you pampered king, we don't have s'mores here in the jungle." And he's like, "No, we're going to go into this big hole." "Why?" "Because we got to find something, and Jafar's in there, and, we're going to find the genie." Tell me that doesn't look like it's straight out of Aladdin. Tell me. So like, okay, we're going to go find the genie. Let's go down. And he got his costume on. He's like, "Oh, but my costume doesn't stay on." He's like, "Yeah, you're not going to need it anyway. It's all getting changed up in here anyway." Blah, blah, blah. So they go down into the hole. They keep dropping. And then they drop down into another hole. He's like, "How are we going to get down there?" And he's like, "Don't worry. Storm's going to catch us with her wind." And he's like, "Honey, can you set up the wind?" "Oh, not that wind, honey. Go, no." I told you not to eat those burritos. So they go down there, and then they find this artifact place, and whatever. And then they find this big glowing ball with dead people around it, and he's like, what happened to all the people? They're like, we don't know, but it's a pretty green ball. And that's the end of that. So, let's make good film time. No, this is where Spider-Man would, because it's got this alternate origin story and stuff that's very interesting. This doesn't. This has the same origin story with now some juxtaposed characters that look different than they normally look, and we have a villain that's I don't know. It's not keeping my interest. So I don't know how long that'll last. So let's just go back to the old Black. See, that's the thing. If I'm looking for the old Black Panther now, what's the use of having the new one? You didn't do anything different with it. See? It's crappy. It's crappy. All right, so let's go to something that's not crappy. We got Cobra Commander, number 4. So he's from Cobra La. I know it's from the cartoon, but it just sounds stupid. So he's looking for the Energon. He's got a little thing going, deet, 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 where's the Energon? So he runs into the Dreadnought. The Dread's like, I'm going to try to get that mask off you with my buzzsaw and my chainsaw, and I'm going to burn it off and all this other stuff. But he ends up escaping, and the guy that was following him from Cobra La ends up being like this demon with wings who is scaring everybody. And he goes down to this hole, but we'll do that into a second here. But whoever decided to do individual characters books first and then kind of piece everything together as if it's a Marvel universe thing was genius. And I think they were trying to do that with Snake Eyes, but Snake Eyes movie wasn't good enough to continue that. But if it was, then this kind of what it would try to be. But this stuff is good enough, and I'm gonna, I'm kind of jumping the gun here. But this is, I think there's one more. Yeah, I think there's one more, and then that's it. So I think it's 5. So anyway, the Dreadnought there is all upset because the young guy almost killed him with the wings. So he says, oh, okay, here's the hatch. I'm going to go into the hatch. And he goes down there, and he finds a scientist, professor, who's being locked down there and against his will to work on this Energon stuff. And he's like, there's not really enough Energon, so I had to create, like, proxy Energon to be able to use it. Maybe just dilute it a little bit. Meanwhile, the Dreadnoughts are Tana or Zartana, whatever the brother and sister there from Zatanna, Zartan. Sorry about that. So they're looking to get out, so they're kind of sacrificing their own people to get away from the guy with the wings, which that doesn't work very well because Buzzsaw there, he gets Buzzer or whatever his name, he gets caught. Meanwhile, they're like, well, let's get out of here. And, yeah, it all doesn't go well. Meanwhile, Cobra Commander's having the conversation with the professor. And he's like, yeah, here's what it looks like. And I can then make it into a box. And then that box can then, regenerate these. It'll fix and reconstruct and make them more powerful. These little robots. So it's almost like a big nano thing. And yeah, so they have those little nanobots, and he's like, that's amazing, this is great. Meanwhile, he goes upstairs, and he's like, well, how did it go? The guy at the window says, oh, we succeeded, and now he's going to go work for us. And the professor's downstairs is like, I thought you were here to save me. And he's like, no, now you got to come work for me. And the guy's like, facepalm, thank God I fell for it. Can't you just let me leave? But meanwhile, the Dreadnought guy, he's not happy with the whole situation. And the guy with the wings is like, all right, well, now I'm just going to take the guy, and I don't need you anymore, so I'm going to kill you. And he's like, you were here to kill me this entire time? Well, what the hell? And he's like, I'm not going to let you take my success. I am here for Cobra La, damn it. But the guy with the wings is just not having it. And he's like, nope, you're just going to die. And he throws one of his little robots at him, and that does absolutely nothing. So he's hiding. He sees the chainsaw there, and he picks up the chainsaw, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. and that doesn't work. And he actually takes his mask off and electrocutes him. So he's got all the bandages on his face, etc. So he brings him up into the air and knocks him down to the ground, which I don't know how you'd survive that. You probably broke your back, but he survives. And he takes one of his little robots and sticks it on his arm like an Iron Man thing, and he sticks the Energon in there. Meanwhile, the guy with the wings is now going to pummel him from the air, and he goes down really fast. But he's like, I am going to Iron Man you. And he goes right through him. So the guy with the wings is dead. So he says to the guy, who do you work for? And if you don't tell me, I'm going to rip your face off. He's like, no, I like this face. I've grown attached to it. But I'll tell you, it's Destro. So now we're going to be going into the Destro miniseries. So because the next thing is Scarlet and Destro, which is really kind of cool. Yeah, it's awesome. I like what they're doing here, and this would be great to kind of do what they were trying to do with Snake Eyes if they had just stuck to the Snake Eyes character and they didn't Henry Golding it out and then did weird stuff with it like a big snake. And in fact, the best part of that thing was Storm Shadow, and the guy who plays Storm Shadow, of course, is also the guy from Warrior, who's a great actor and a great fighter. They should have just made a Storm Shadow movie and it would have been fine. Putting Snake Eyes in it was probably a bad idea. I even like What's-Her-Face as Scarlet. I think that was a good casting move. And the Baroness, the chick who played the Baroness, was also really good. So there was some really good parts to that. There's the main character was the worst part. I was rooting for Storm Shadow through the whole thing. This is bad. So anyway, Cobra Commander, as a recap, good stuff. Loving it. Would make a good movie. It wouldn't by really by itself. There's not enough story there. But combining it with some other things would be good. Black Panther, no, it's falling off the cliff. And Action Comics, it's a good start. I'm just gonna leave it there because I don't know where they're gonna go with it, but it's a good start. All right, so that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending time with me, and hopefully I entertained you just a little bit. And remember to give me the thumbs up, give me the like. I do film. I don't do. It's just sometimes. I do movie reviews as well as television. I just did one for Fallout as well, and I just did Abigail. And I plan on going on Sunday to see the ungentlemanly thing with the military thing with the Nazis and stuff like that. Also, if you're a fan of classic monsters and the Wizard of Oz as monsters, this is the Mythlords is the name of the game. This is the Dark Oz expansion, but the main box is going to be with the classic monsters. You'll play as Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein, and of course we have Dorothy and the Wicked Witch in here. And the Creature from the Deep is going to be in the main thing as well, and you'll be able to send your minions out, and the card artwork looks really good. So even if you're just a fan of the art, it's the game is going to be great, but even if you're just a fan of the art, it's going to be worth it anyway. But anyway, you can sign up in the description below. Just has you'll be notified when we launch the campaign, because the first 3 days you're going to get an exclusive card, so that will not be available anywhere else. So if you don't sign up if you don't pledge within the first 3 days, you won't get the card. All right, so that's it for me. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out some other videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye-bye.